Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Building My Carbon Shoe. I have the shoe and the mold. Now I've got to get it off. Looking at a video Andrea sent me, because I asked him very kindly and he was very nice enough to send me a video. He has split it down the middle here, all the way to the bottom. So that's split. Well, it's got a slot down it, I'm assuming, so they could get the foot out. Then there is the cut that goes from here to like the toe. But because I'm going to put that in, I'll probably do my cut to about here. From here to there. I've trimmed the sides in the back, done a line down the front. Andrea's got a hole. I assume that's to relieve, I'm assuming that's to relieve any stress points. If you have the line just end, it'll sort of crack along there. I've done the notch down the back, but that wasn't enough to release it. So underneath, I've done a big line down the entire length and split it like that. I also accidentally sanded through, which isn't too much of a concern because that's going to be glued underneath, and then I'm going to do another layer of carbon once I finish it. But I tried to sand all the bumps out and take a little bit off the edge here, just so it's got like less carbon thickness here, so then it wants to flex a little bit more. And I just gave it a go, and it did crack quite easily, like that. So I think with a bit of gentle persuasion, I'll be able to pull it out. I got it off the mold pretty easy. The only issue is, which I assumed would be the issue, that this bit here doesn't flex enough and I can't get my foot into it. So I've got to split it open at the back to get my foot in, which isn't going to work when I make the shoe. So I might have to put a split like that at the top and do one there and one there and see how that feels. But with the inner sole in, it feels very comfortable and I'm happy with how it looks, and it is like less than like 60 grams. It's so good. Yesterday I glued the bottom that I'd already formed onto the shoe, which I recently formed, and sort of blended it in with a bit of glue. It's got a nice transition, very good shape. It's a bit rough where the glue is, but I'll sand that back and then sand the bottom of the foot, polish all this up so it's nice and smooth, and get ready to lay some carbon from about maybe here. I'll stop here, start again there, and lay it up to about there. It appears that this has a high stress point just here, so I might notch it back just a little bit and put another hole there. Another hole here, so it sort of flexes along this line rather than like that line right here, because this side, when you open it, it flexes all along the side here, and this one sort of flexes from that point here back. Let's see if I can demonstrate. Yeah, so there is a bit of a stress point. So if I cut there, or cut back this way a bit, it might relieve some of that stress. But I can only just fit my foot in. Well, I haven't actually got my foot in yet because there's all bits inside that I need cleaning up. But if I do that line here, I think I'll be able to easily get my foot in, and then I'll just have a bit of Velcro to tighten it up. I ended up drilling that other hole I was saying. It makes quite a bit of difference, because you can see the deflection is away from this point and it's down to here, and you've got this entire surface along here where it can flex upon, which is a relief. So it's the same as this side. I've sanded somewhat on the bottom. I don't think I'll bother going any further than this. Like, there's a few dimples and stuff at the bottom, but I'm not worried what it looks like. I don't want it, like, I don't need it to be like perfectly smooth. So yeah, what I'm going to do is cut some carbon and resin that on and vacuum form it. Not full vacuum because it'll squish into here, but just enough. I'll fill the top with a rag or something so the sharp edges don't catch a bag, but just enough to push the carbon down and hold it in place. And I could just do a wet layup, so just carbon and then a bit of peel ply and leave it, but I'll just do carbon, peel ply and a light vacuum. And that should be it for the shoe, and then I can start doing the laces, which will probably be Velcro or something. Haven't decided yet. But yeah, I can actually get my foot in now. Bit of an update on the shoe scenario here. It's been over 4 months because I spent 4 months building a bike for someone, which has taken up a lot of my life. Kind of a waste, really. But I've made a second shoe. There's the original one. Today, I bonded the split line down the back, just there. So now it's secured together, and I'm checking my left foot right now to see if I can fit it in. I just checked the right foot, I can fit it into the shoe. I had these bits of foam marked out, and I was going to place them on the inside of a shoe with some just some normal adhesive. But trying it out just now with the foam in there, it's pretty tight. You wouldn't think so because it's like super skinny and it does squash down to pretty much nothing. But the foot and the shoe is, well, the shoe is completely molded perfectly to my foot. So, you know, there's zero room. Like every tiny little bump, like that little bump there on my ankle, I guess that's where I broke it. Yeah, it's probably like a big scar bump where I broke my ankle. It's like perfectly molded to my foot, so it's like zero room. So I've cut out some leather and I will stick that on the inside of a shoe. I've got like a little tab here that's going to stick up above so I can use it to grab onto and like slide my foot into. And then I'll just double sock every time I ride. If I want a little bit more cushioning, I just put a thicker sock on. So that's what I'm going to do instead of that. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to secure these two bits together to stop them flexing open. So Andrea Gallo has a BOA system. I'm not exactly sure how they glue on or how they stick on, so I'm going to do a bit more research in before I paint the shoe. But right now I'm at the stage where I'm checking and doing the final bits of sanding on the shoe before I prep for painting. And they're pretty heavy. For some reason that one's a lot heavier. I don't know why. But yeah, that's the update. So here's a shoe. Doesn't impede at all on the back of my ankle there. Perfectly molded, plenty of room around my ankle to move it left and right and up and down. And it feels really good when I clamp it around here. So once that's tight, like it's going to be a solid shoe. Hopefully get a fair bit of power. A little bit of wiggle room in the toes here, so I may put some foam just on the top here to stop my toes wiggling up and down. But that can be an afterthought once I've finished the shoe. I mustn't forget that I've got this tongue to put in as well. So that takes up a little bit of room there. Provides a bit of cushioning for when I do tighten it down. really tight. I'm not sure where I'm going to put that, whether I'm going to put it on the inside and stick it to the roof here, or whether I'm going to put it on the outside and stick it down here. It looks a bit silly like this, you know, but I don't know where to put it. This isn't the type of shoe that I'd wear for hours on end, but like 5 minutes in the streamliner, I reckon it'll be fine. On my shoes, I was going to have a boa configuration, same as Andrea. But the only way to get that is to get it off an old shoe, because they stitch the bottom half into the fabric, and then the ratchet like clips into the top bit. So what I've done is I'm just going to go with shoelaces. So I've got a nice little camo one there, and I've got these little eyelets that crimp down with like a little tool. So I bought the tool and the eyelet, and I've got this little test piece that I did on some spare carbon. It's a little bit scratchy around this edge, so what I'll do is probably just like rub some glue, some 2-part glue over the back just to fill in the gaps, and that'll be the top half like that. So I'm just going to drill those holes now and file them out to size, and then it pretty much should be ready for painting. This is a test piece with a bit of leather on the back. So this is how the tongue is going to be held into the bike. You see it's got like quite a bit of pull force. And I'll do the eyelet smooth side on the inside. And it looks pretty rough, but you know, I can paint over that. Here is what I will be painting the shoes with. It is the same as what I used on a streamliner. The reason I'm doing it on the shoes is because I want to try to paint it on, because here somewhere it says it is a paint on. So you can paint it on just there. You can use a spray brush, but when I sprayed it on the streamliner, it came up with little dots. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, little dots where like it didn't quite like blend together. You had to do a really thick coat to, you know, get them to blend together. Maybe I needed thinners in it, so it was a little bit like more low viscosity. But yeah, it didn't quite blend in some spots, and I'll probably have to do another coat on that. But what I want to do is try and paint it on and see how that goes with the brush strokes. So in America, if I scratch the bike up, I know I can just mix another bit of that and paint it on, and then sand it so it's like blended in. Because it's polyurethane, it sticks to itself, so you don't have to like do any special treatment. You just paint it on and it sticks again. So that's what I'm gonna attempt to do right now. So painting on worked pretty good. I slapped it on pretty thick. As you can see, there's quite a few runny bits, but it started to tack off really quick. Oops, I'm gonna straighten that out. Which is good news, because it means I can paint it onto here, and then I just have to sand it back. But the front fairing's pretty much perfect, and that comes up to here, which is past the widest point. So by here, the air is starting to separate from the bike anyway, and I don't know how much a tiny little dimple like that will have an effect on the aerodynamics. I wouldn't imagine much at all. As long as the bottom under here is nice and smooth, yeah, I think just having it polished will be enough. But you know, when I painted it, I did like 15 coats of paint with the spray gun, and then I sanded most of it back. Like I sanded liters of the paint off, and just to get it smooth, you know, just to smooth these bumps out, which was an absolute nightmare. So I can't really be bothered to sand it back again. Front fairing's perfect. I'll leave that. It's really only sort of the underside here and a little bit at the front and the back half that needs doing. So I might do like a test piece somewhere here, way towards the back. Just paint like a tiny little bit on and then see if it'll sand back nice. But yeah, I don't want to stuff it up and sand back to the undercoat. Paint is dried over the last week and I've just installed the little eyelets. Makes it look very bling. Underneath it's a little bit scratchy, so I might just try and flatten it out with some pliers or something, or hammer it flat somehow. And then I'm ready to install the leather. Looking good so far. That's just the bottom coat. I'm probably not even going to bother with the top coat because it's pretty nice. It's smooth enough, and yeah, you can't really tell that it's just a bottom coat. Cleats on the bottom of a shoe have been installed. Paint job looks rough, but I don't care. So the eyelets, you can see in there, I've just put some glue on the other side and just filed it back down flush. On the back of an eyelet, it's got slots around it, so when it crimps down, it's got something to flex from. So I've just filled in that gap with glue, so now it's nice and smooth. And in this other shoe, I've put the leather on the inside. It's all stuck down nice. I'll probably trim this bit flush here and that bit flush on the other side because I'll be double socking. The sharp edges here won't really, cut into my foot. I won't have to like round it off here. So that's one side done. I'll do this other side now, then I can figure out how I'm going to put these in, and then I'll be pretty much finished. Just lace it up and try it on. So I think it's going to be a bit hard to have this on the inside and have it pinned, same with these eyelets, because the only issue is you've got to get like either side of the leather and the carbon, and this whole tongue extends all the way up, so you can't reach in, you can't reach on the sides. So I'm going to do what I originally assumed I'd have to do, and that's just fold it on the outside and just glue it down like that. This sticky spray is pretty good, so it shouldn't move, but if it does, I'll just have to tape it on or glue it on or something a little bit more permanent, but that's how I'm going to have it. Other than that, the shoe is starting to look pretty bloody good. Shoes are now finished. Got a sock in here to just prop the tongue up, but not for any other reason. Just got to let all the adhesive tack off for 24 hours because it takes about that long to get a superior bond. And then I can try it on and, well, I know it fits, try it on in the streamliner to see how much more clearance I get, because I may be able to push my cleats into a better position, because right now they were as far up as I could get, so my foot was as far down as possible. So that was like a lot of pressure through the toes rather than through the ball of a foot. So now I've got a little bit more clearance on my toes. I might be able to push that up a couple of mil and get a better position for my foot, and then push it as far out as possible. So I've got a little bit more clearance on my heels and like on the inside of my foot for the chain rings and stuff. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for watching. It has been a long one. It's dragged out longer than I expected. I hope I inspired you to maybe play with some carbon yourself, create your own carbon shoe like I did. Stay tuned for the next adventure, which is happening right here. I'll give you a surprise when it's finished. I won't film that at all. you'll just get a surprise at the end. The next video will probably be me doing the world record attempt. Well, breaking the world record, because I know I'm going to beat it. So stay tuned for that. Get excited, and I'll see you in the next episode.